Hey everyone, it's Caleb here, and just hoping you're having a fantastic day. XRP is doing something that most retail investors are completely overlooking, and it's not like having this crazy pump. Yeah, it did have a bit of a run, and we're happy to see some green today, but it's also not crashing. It's just kind of been sitting there in range bound, like it has been for the past little while. But under the surface, institutional flows, off-exchange liquidity, and new infrastructure developments are starting to shift. And that combination usually doesn't stay quiet for too long. Like today, I want to break down kind of what's actually happening, like why price hasn't really reached these peaks yet and why it's been kind of just hanging out, and what XRP holders should realistically expect in the next couple of months here. So quick disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. Please always do your own financial advice and do your own research. Do your own financial advice. Do your own research and get financial advice from professional advisors. But research it because you owe that to yourself. Now, let's start with institutional positioning. Since XRP-related investment products launched, we've seen steady, may not have been explosive like some people might have thought it would have been, but they've been very consistent, absolutely consistent. And that's important because institutions don't typically chase price. They accumulate during periods of low volatility. And like the difference here is that like even with the demand, price hasn't broken out, which suggests absorption, right? Buyers are stepping in, but supply, it's still meeting them. And that creates compression. And compression phases don't last forever. Now, this is kind of where things start to get a little bit interesting, is that and most people are actually, I think, kind of misunderstand it. So let's kind of get into it a bit. Is that in traditional markets, you have what are called like dark pools. Now, like private venues where institutions can buy large amounts without moving the price on the exchanges. In crypto, there are dark pools, but it's not exactly the same. But like the closest equivalent is like an over-the-counter desk and off-exchange liquidity, right? So that's where institutions can accumulate XRP without impacting the public market. So when people ask, why isn't the price moving if institutions are buying? Yeah, you got all the XRP is the strongest ETF inflow. Why is no price happening, right? Well, this is one of the answers, is that they're not always buying off of the exchanges. So here's kind of where this starts to matter for price, is that off exchange liquidity starts to thin out. Like once that starts to happen, like meaning that there's less XRP available in like on the over the counter trades where they're getting all this stuff from, is that institutions eventually have to go somewhere else, right? And that somewhere else is exchanges. It's exchanges. So when large buyers move from the over the counter to public exchanges, well, that's when you start to get what's called like a supply shock, right? And I think that's coming. I think it's on the way because there's going to be less available XRP. There's going to be more aggressive buyers, and then price starts to move, but it's going to start to move really, really fast. Now, it's not guaranteed, but structurally, that is how these moves tend to happen. So if you zoom out to the network itself as well, like XRPL continues expanding in areas institutions actually care about. Tokenization, stablecoin infrastructure, cross-border liquidity. This is real financial plumbing for the new financial system. And it's why XRP continues to stay relevant across all these past cycles, and into future cycles, it will still be relevant. And there's another development that's worth watching closely that I kind of want to just point out. And I want to frame it correctly if I can. There's reports and discussions around Evernorth potentially launching in quarter 2 here, with filing earlier this year and a possible NASDAQ listing under I think the ticker's XRPN. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But this is important because if that actually materializes, it is an if, but if that materializes, it could represent another layer of institutional exposure tied to the XRP ecosystem. And that matters because anything that brings XRP closer to traditional financial markets or increases accessibility through regulated channels, that translates into incremental demand. But again, it's just something to watch for. it's not something to assume it's like fully confirmed until it's on its way. It's not confirmed it's official yet, but just something to look out for, okay? I want you guys to keep apprised of all these things. Now, the next part, this is a little bit more, okay, just a little bit more advanced. people racing over here. But it's like, this gets interesting long-term, okay? So if digital assets like XRP ever receive a tier 1 collateral like allocation or treatment, like similar to like what gold is, right? Like gold's a tier 1 asset, right? In traditional finance. Well, that changes the game a lot, because tier 1 assets, they're considered essentially like riskless from a balance sheet perspective, right? And that means institutions can hold it, they can use it as like collateral against it, they can borrow against it, and that's where Ripple's broader ecosystem, like things like custody, liquidity, like all that infrastructure, like liquidity infrastructure, treasury tools, like that starts to matter a whole lot more, because it's not just about holding XRP, it's about using it inside financial systems. If that's making sense. So like let's bring it back to the present. These are all things that are on the way, but like, yeah, price has been range bound. And it kind of comes down to two things. There's that macro liquidity that's still tight, and then there's a lot of this positioning that's happening, and it's not driving the price yet. And I think that's the key, I think that's the key, is yet, because I believe it will be driving the price. So even though fundamentals are improving, yeah, the market right now hasn't fully reacted, but that's the buildup. That's the buildup that's happening. That's that spring that's coiling right now. And yeah, sure, XRP has been kind of hanging out in this range. But hey, we're having some green days, and maybe we're going to start to see a move closer to that $1.80 range. I don't know. We'll see. Let me know down in the comments below if you think XRP is on its way to $1.80, if you think it's going to cross that $1.45, $1.50 kind of resistance that it's been hitting its head over. But I just want you guys all to just kind of take a step back, see the bigger picture. Institutions are positioning, off-exchange liquidities definitely playing a role. Infrastructure is expanding, and there's potential new market access points are developing all over the world. It's amazing. And XRP is sitting right in the middle of all of it. It's a little quiet right now, but it's definitely not inactive. And I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are on all these things, and what you think will be, as Brad Garlinghouse was talking about, it may not be a flip of the switch, but what do you think are, it might be 1,000 little flips of the switch that are all catalysts, and eventually it's all going to kind of culminate into like this flippening of a switch, but it's been a buildup. It's been a buildup, and we've been watching the buildup. But hey, if you guys have found value in this, and you're finding value in the content that I'm providing, throw a like and subscribe, turn on those notifications. I want to be posting a daily XRP video every single day. But for now, be blessed, stay positive. I'm going to catch you guys in the next one, and have a great night.